Welcome back to the life of a virtual airline pilot. I'm your host, Captain Mac, as always, and we are trudging right along, getting so close I can almost taste it. We're almost there, right on the edge of getting promoted to captain, and Lord knows we need to get promoted to captain. Now, I think I caught a glimpse of a comment that I haven't had a chance to actually read yet, where somebody said, "Hey, Aerosouth's actually going to release that CRJ." Yeah. Probably not going to happen. But I can tell you this. By the time they release it, we'll already be promoted to captain, and I probably won't buy it for a while. So just something to think about. But moving on. Okay, y'all remember what the vote was? It was between CYYC, I believe it was, and KSTL as our destinations, both out of San Francisco, obviously. And this was by far the closest vote we've ever had. On first count, I'm pretty sure it was 10 to 10. But I went back and I counted again, and I come up with 10 to 9 in favor of KSTL. And that being said, my vote is also for KSTL, and there's a couple reasons for that. Number one is that's our hub, and we haven't flown into our hub yet, so we might as well fly into our hub, right? Got a little sniffles going on here. And the other reason is it's a long flight. It's like 4 hours, and if we fly slow, we can probably drag it out even longer than that. So I've already gone ahead and picked that flight. Like I said, pretty sure we've been to KSTL at least once. Otherwise, it wouldn't even show up on here. So, well, we started there, didn't we? Wasn't that our very first flight? We'll look at our logbook at some point. But anyway, that's where we're flying. So I've gone ahead and grabbed it already. It's this guy right here. And you can see, what do they got here? 2321 to 0328. So that's 4 hours and 7 minutes is what it looks like. Let me grab this real quick and copy that. 1,506 miles. And at the rate we work, we can probably get some. In fact, I'm going to don't tell anybody, but I'm going to show you a trick that'll actually get you some extra hours. It's not illegitimate, just so you know. It's legitimate. It's not cheating or scamming or anything like that. It's just a way that actually gets a little bit of extra hours, especially for us because we spend so much time pre-flight. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at our pilot briefing because we've already been on this page too long. United Airlines Flight 4976. We've already got the departure times and distance. We're flying the E175, so we'll cram it as full as they'll let us make it. Weather is going to be from Active Sky 2016. Loving that program, by the way. Fantastic. And then route and charts are going to come from PFPX and Navigraph charts respectively. So I think that's all we have on here, which means, of course, let's hop on over to the website, fire up the ACARS, get this bad boy going so that we can get a few more hours knocked out and hopefully get promoted soon. All right, let's go ahead and knock out this ACARS. And it seems like whenever I do a PVA flight, I always remember to have the ACARS in here, and then when I do the other flights, I don't. It's kind of funny when I think about it anyway. We're scheduled for 4 hours and 7 minutes. All things considered, I have a feeling it's going to take us just about an hour longer, which is good because then we'll be down to 14 hours until we get promoted, and Lord knows we need to get promoted. Go ahead and grab a previous route here. We are going to be taking the Truckin' 2 departure. Is that on here? Ah, there it is. It's on there. So let's just go ahead and grab one that has that in there. Again, this route here is for this map, so we don't actually have to follow it. It's just there. Click Setup Flight. Obviously, you can see, I didn't, what do we got on our flight plan here for altitude? I didn't even look at that yet. You see here. I'm just looking on the other screen over here at the flight plan for the initial altitude. Oh, there it is. 35,000. Yeah, let's go up to 35,000. That sounds good. If it can get there initially. This is a long flight. I was actually really surprised that this flight is in the E175. I mean, it's got the range, sure, but that's a long flight for that tiny little aircraft. Usually you fly 737 across there or whatever. But anyway, operated by SkyWest Airlines, but it's a United Airlines flight. We're actually going to fly the Cirrus Airlines livery because I went ahead and installed the 4 free liveries you get with the Field Air Embraer E-Jets, whatever they're called. You get a few with them. So I went ahead and installed those and figured, well, let's fly something a little different today. So there we go. We've got everything set up. We can click on Start Flight now. Yes, we know these two are together on the aircraft substitution chart, so we're good on that. So we can click yes, and we're rocking and rolling. So there she is. I haven't paused it or anything like that. As I said, we're going to fly the Cirrus Airlines version today, just to have a different model to look at, or a different livery to look at. My wife hates that word livery, by the way. So yeah, here's San Francisco. Pretty well modeled. We flew in here. Obviously, you guys have seen it already. We're going to be taking off over here. We'll explain all that in a little bit. So, but yeah, I think we're pretty much raring to go here. I usually just take a second here, give an opportunity for that cool little pop-up to show up, give you all the flight information, all that good stuff before we hop in. That being said, I told you I'm gonna show you a little trick here. This is not cheating. For us, it's, normally this is, this will give you a whopping 15 minutes of time or something like that. For us, it's probably gonna give us a little more because our startup takes a little while. But what you can do is, say you need that extra 10 minutes or something like that. You got to do your startup. So we've got ACARS started here, but it's not. Well, let me bring that back over here. It's not doing anything. It just says it's boarding. Okay. So if we take the parking brake off, you see it says passenger loading completed. Right. Now I'm gonna put the parking brake back on because we're gonna need it on. But now if we look at ACARS, it says we're holding and the flight time's counting. So the amount of time that it takes us to go through all our startup and all of that good stuff, we're going to get credit for that time. So it's not cheating. Now, I will say this. We're going to get extra time out of it, but I'm not going to drag my feet here. I'm going to do my normal procedures and stuff like that, and that's what that would be the proper way to do it. So it takes us a little bit longer because I explain everything as I go through, but if it takes you only 10 minutes to do your startup procedures, then it only takes you 10 minutes. Don't start the time here and then let it tick away for another hour before you decide to do a startup, because your PIREP's going to get flagged if you do that. And somebody's going to say, wait a minute, this was a 2-hour flight and it took you 6 hours, and they're going to reject that PIREP. Just so you know, it will get rejected. We're going to probably get, based on, we're always late on our flight time. So based on our flight time and the extra, 15 or 20 minutes it takes us to do the startup, we're going to get about a half hour or so extra out of it. And that's fine. And it may get flagged, and, then it gets flagged, but it won't get rejected because we're not doing it to be shady. So there's just a little trick. You can get just a few extra minutes if you need them or something like that. But again, don't abuse it and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to start it now and then I'll come back in 2 hours and I'll start my flight. Okay, so let's hop on in here. We're all cold and dark, as we should be. I do have the Active Sky 2016 weather gauge installed in this particular aircraft. I hooked it up to the shift and number 9 key, so there it is. We'll be looking at that today and see if we get any good information off of that. So that means we need to jump right into our, cockpit safety inspection, right? Yep, cockpit safety inspection. All right, so as usual, I'm just going to pretty much read through these because these are all mostly just checks, things that we can't actually do anything with. So maintenance status, cockpit emergency equipment, electric panel, fuel panel, windshield wipers, hydraulic panel, air condition, pneumatics panel, ELT, landing gear lever, all checked. And the last one, I always like to just take an extra look. Should be down, obviously. Start and stop selectors are in the stop position. They are off to the left there. That's stop. Speed brake lever is closed. That's this guy right here, which it is. Rat manual deploy is stowed. That's over here. You can't actually do anything with it. Flap lever verify position. Flaps are all the way up as they should be. And then check circuit breakers. And you can't actually do anything with the circuit breakers. There they are. They're modeled but not simulated. So there you have it, which is going to take us, of course, directly to our power-up checklist where all the fun starts. And we're going to hop up top here, and batteries 1 and 2 both come on. 1 goes to on, and 2 goes to auto, even though it still says battery 1. And I'm always going to mention that because I just think that's hilarious. I got to stop that beeping or we're going to go insane. So you just click on the caution light there and you're good to go. Battery voltage needs to be checked. Let's see if I remember how to do this. It's not up here. I know she says something about it as soon as you fire it up. I'm not actually sure where to check battery voltage. Maybe on systems here? What do you think? No, I don't think it's that either, because you can't do anything with any of this right now. I don't actually know where you check the battery voltage. If somebody knows where to check the battery voltage, please leave it down in the comments and I'll try to remember. Somebody might have already said it too. I can't remember everything that gets put down there. GPU button as required. We're not using the GPU, so we don't need to worry about that. Which means we are actually going to need to fire up the APU pretty quickly here, because let's see, I'm just looking on the checklist here. It's been a couple weeks since I flew this thing, and I don't see where the APU startup is actually at. GPU, where's the APU startup? Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and start the APU now. How's that? So, starting the APU, very simple. Click it once, or I'm using the mouse wheel. Twice goes the start, then back to the on position, and then she'll be up and running in no time. And now it says GPU available. I guess we could have turned it on. I chose not to, so it is what it is. I haven't actually loaded fuel yet. I suppose I should have done that already. You can hear the APU firing up, and then the generator is actually already on. So I suppose while I'm thinking about it, before we press on, let's take care of fuel and flight plan so that we're good to go on those. So fuel, based on our flight plan, we need 16,313 pounds. We'll add just a little bit of, come on, brain function, just a little bit of captain's fuel. You can see that's almost full. 16,313 pounds, and this thing only holds 20,928. So let's just put it at 17,000. How's that sound? So that's only a few hundred more. That'll be our extra APU time. So 8,500 aside, and that puts us at 16,998. So just a little bit of extra captain's fuel, and we should be good to go on that. So I'm good with that, and then we need to load the flight plan. So remember, go to Flight Planner, click on Load, choose your flight plan. You can see I got rid of a bunch of them because this thing was full. And then don't click Find Route, just click OK, and you don't want it to move the aircraft, so click No, and it'll leave it right where it's at. Because if it moves it once you've got ACARS running, then ACARS is going to flag that as well. It's going to flag it as a jump seat. You don't want that. Okay. So APU's running now. APU generator is on, so we're good on that. Fire extinguisher panel checked. You can't actually do anything with these, so there's nothing really to check. Emergency lights need to be armed. I struggle with emergency lights in every aircraft. But here it is right here. Look, you got your cough already. Hold on, let me take a drink. Goodness, okay. So there's the emergency lights, easy days, right? APU select, oh, there's APU, duh, start. Okay, APU's already run, so nav light and logo light need to come on, and we might get flagged for our lights because we didn't have the beacon on, so we'll probably have a warning on our pirate for that. That's all right. Hydraulic panel needs to be checked, so hydraulics, this pump's going to have to come on. I forget where it's at, hold on. 3A goes on in the before start checklist, so we'll wait on that. So I don't know what else to check on the hydraulic panel, so there's your hydraulic panel, right? Electronic CBs. Somebody told me what this is and I forgot, so my apologies, but I know somebody mentioned it and I don't remember what electronic CBs are, so pressing on for now. Photoluminescent strips, sure, they're in there. I think we looked at them once before, so they are good to go. Pressurization panel needs to be set. I guess technically this is pre-flight checklist. If I haven't created a pre-flight checklist, then we'll leave it as is. If I have, there you go. But pressurization panel set. So air conditioning and pressure. Here's pressurization. So stop, auto, stop. Yep, they're good. Oxygen masks checked. You can't even see them in the aircraft. Flight instruments set and cross-check. So this is where we start getting into the weather stuff, obviously. So let's pull our active sky up here. and take a quick look at our weather. So this is obviously just a quick look, gives us our wind 280 at 5 knots, but it doesn't give us our altimeter, which if anybody from Hi-Fi happens to see this, or somebody sees this that knows somebody from Hi-Fi or goes on their forums or something like that, please make a suggestion that right here between wind speed and ground speed that they put the altimeter, okay? And it only needs to be at airports. It doesn't have to be everywhere else, but it'd be nice to have the altimeter right there instead of having to go to conditions. Then you type in and watch our view's going to change in the background. See? And that's just because of Easy Dock. So jump back in there. There we go. It's not KSF01, but you get the point. So we have to go to this view here in order to view our weather. So you can see it's 280 at 5 knots. Let me write this down. And 2984, and our visibility is fine. Now that being said, two methods. You can go to 122.050 on the radio, on the I keep forgetting you got to right click it. So we can go to 122.050. Did I say? Yep, 050. I'll probably forget that. 122.050. We haven't initialized this thing yet. And you can put it in here.
Abbreviated briefing from your current position to Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Oscar to Kilo Sierra Tango Lima. AirMet Sierra is valid for IFR and mountain obscuration. Valid until 2200 Zulu. For your route of flight, AirMet Tango is valid for turbulence. Valid until 2200 Zulu. For your route of flight, no SIGNETs active for your route of flight. Current weather conditions. Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Oscar. Wind 268 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky condition. Few clouds at 700. Temperature 14. Dew point 11. Altimeter 2984. For your planned destination, at your estimated arrival time. Wind 153 at 6. Visibility.
Okay, that's enough of that for now. The difference in the wind, 268 magnetic, 280 true. So we wrote down the true magnetic, or the true wind heading. 268 is the magnetic. Now that being said, real quick, you can also go in here and go to briefing, and you can play it here.
Standard weather briefing for Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Oscar to
Much
Kilo
louder.
Sierra Tango Lima. Air.
Anyway, you get the point, right? I suppose it's louder because you can't hear the aircraft in the background, but that's another way to get your weather briefing as well. So just something to consider. Okay, so there's our weather, at least our departure weather, so we're good to go on that. Let's see, what else? Flight instruments. So we got to set flight instruments and then cross-check them, right? So I'm going to pop this up so you can see it, and it should automatically populate this side. So I'll pop them both up and we'll just see. It should change them both. So it's 2984. So here's our barometric pressure. Yep, see, it moves them both at the same time. So 2984, so we're good to go on that. That's flight instruments set. Thrust levers in idle, they are right here. And parking brake on, which it is, which is going to take us directly into our before start checklist. And I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything here. I don't think I did. Okay, trim panel set. It's in the green. There's nothing else to do with it at the moment. So we might trim it up a little bit more, actually. As long as we stay in the green, we're fine. So I'm going to trim it up a little bit more just because we are going to definitely be heavy. We're full of fuel. So, and then we set up the MCDU. So what we need to do is hop down here. And the first thing we need to do is initialize our position. So go to nav, page 2, by clicking next, and then position initialization, and then load the top one's fine. And then that'll take us straight to flight plan. And because we've already loaded our FS flight plan through the flight simulator, and our menu's still up there, we can click on that guy, and it loads it right in there for us, and that's fantastic. So go ahead and activate that. And let's see, that's straight to tip raise, so we're going to need to put in our departure. Let's do that before we do the rest of the performance initialization. We're going to take runway 28 left. So 28 left, and when we brief it, we'll be taking the Truckin' 2 departure, which is not on this page, so it's got to be on the next one. There it is, Truckin' 2. And let me see here. Do we have a transition on this guy? Let me look here real quick. Get rid of that. There we are. Trucking 2. Suppose I could have paid a little more attention to that, right? Actually, it should be tip ray. What am I thinking? Dirt. It's tip ray because that's going to be our first waypoint. Okay, so insert those. Now, let's pay attention here. We've got all this information. This is vectors, all that good stuff, even though this isn't really a vectors departure. But we'll swing around to trucking, cosmic, and then off to tip ray. And that's what I'm seeing on the departure chart here. But now let's make sure tip ray is not in there twice. It's not. Inslow, Garrett, and so on. So good to go. We didn't have any problems with that. You can see we've got plenty of waypoints there. So let's activate this. And now we'll go to performance initialization. Nothing we need to do on page 1 here. Next page, fuel reserves and contingency fuel. We want 2,000 pounds of fuel reserves. Put those in there. And next page. And then remember now, we get this information from this guy right here. So our 0 fuel weight, we're going to put that in. And then it's going to say initial cruise altitude optimum. We're going to change that right now because I hate coming back and having to change it later. So 63,343 is our 0 fuel weight, right? Is that right? This doesn't seem to... Oh, never mind. My brain's not working. I was going to say this doesn't seem to include the fuel. Well, it shouldn't. It's the 0 fuel weight. Dirt. Okay, so 0 fuel weight, 63,343. And we put that in right there, and it calculates everything else for us. Now, see, it automatically goes to 2,000. We're going to change that to 35,000 right now. It always says check destination fuel. 35, 1, 2, 3. Bam, that's where we're going to be. And then on to performance data. Can't do anything here. Don't need to do anything here. Next page, same. The cruise winds, we could probably pull the average cruise winds. I'm not going to mess with it right now just because this already takes forever. That's our reserve fuel, so we're good there. So let's go to the takeoff page. The wind for takeoff. Now I am not sure if it does magnetic or true heading in here. Most likely it does magnetic. So let's do 268 at 5 knots. So 268/5. There we go. Elevation's already there. We've already done our departure, so there's nothing to click on there. If we go in there, it's going to mess with our flight plan. So remember that. Just clicking on the departure button is going to mess with your flight plan. So don't even bother. Okay. Density, altitude, headwind, crosswind. That's fantastic. And then we need to take care of our takeoff speeds. Now, remember, in order to do that, we're going to need a couple of things here. Now, first thing I need to do is I need to flip to the right page in my charts, or not my charts, my my checklist here. Still 195, 175, takeoff speeds, flaps 2. That's what I'm looking for right there. Okay, so I pull that up, and then I didn't pay attention while we were there. So real quick, back to the performance page, and it's probably under performance data. It's page 1, 2. No, it's not. Just go to the performance initialization and go to page 3, and that gives you your gross weight of 80,340 pounds. I'm just writing that down real quick. Okay, and now we can go back to takeoff, page 3. There we go. So the chart that I'm looking at, I've shown it to you guys on here before. I'm not going to pull it up right now, but just remember the charts, the performance charts, they are in the manual where the checklists are. So just past the checklists at the end of the manual, that's where your performance charts are. So we're looking for 80,340 pounds on the performance chart. And I've got 80,500. All right, so that would be the next one up. And then based on the outside air temperature, which I didn't actually look at it, but I'm pretty sure. Where are you at? Temperature, it's on this one, isn't it? Or is it? No, it's on this one. There we go, plus 14. So we're good on that. So we're between the -40 and the positive 38. And we're basically sea level pressure. So we're going to use the first column. at 80,500 pounds, we're going to have 140, 146, and 149. So 140, 146, and 149. So again, if you're wondering where I'm getting these numbers from, I took my my gross weight, and then I went to the the 175 Takeoff V Speeds Flaps 2 page, which is near the end of your manual for this aircraft. Okay, and then based on our pressure altitude, which is close to sea level, and our temperature, that gave me the column of V speeds that I needed to use. And then you go all the way down to the closest weight to our weight, which is 80,340, and round up. So the closest one was 80,500. That gave me my V speeds, and then if I follow that row all the way across, it'll give me the VFS speed of 200. Okay, and I've shown that before, but if you still don't know what I'm talking about, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments section, and I'll try to remember next video to show you that again. Okay, so moving on. Climb. 240 in the climb is good. I like that. That's where I like to stay. Cruise, 0.72 is going to be the Mach, and I think we're good. Right now, optimum is 345 or 34,500. By the time we get up to 34,500, we'll burn enough fuel to make it to 35,000. And descent, 250 in the descent. I'm okay with that. So we're pretty much good to go, which means our MCDU is checked and set. So put it on our flight plan page. We're good to go there, and we can move on to fuel quantity. Fuel quantity should be right here, right? I know it's right in front of my face. There it is. Fuel quantity. Okay, so we're at 16,990 right now, and we are going to be a little uneven, and I'll probably want to change that before takeoff, so I'll try to remember to show you how to do that. I've shown it before, but I'll try to remember to show you how to balance the fuel. Come on, brain, function. Okay, taxi and takeoff briefing. So we haven't actually completed that yet because we do our departure briefing as we taxi out. So we'll do that when the time comes. Passenger signs need to go on. Oh, they're up here somewhere. There we go. Passenger signs, fasten seatbelts, no smoking, and sterile cockpit. Sterile cockpit means that that should be an announcement in the back, or it should be a light or something like that that tells the flight attendants not to bother us right now. Flight deck door locked. You can't actually do anything with it on here. Red beacon's already on. Hydraulic pump 3A needs to come on. That's this guy right here. Just use the mouse wheel to roll it to the right. And the overhead panel needs to be normal. And in this case, normal means all the lights are off. Okay, which they are, with the exception of the GPU button. It shows that it's available. All the other lights should be off, and they are. Which means we're ready for push and start. So I'm going to take a second to make sure I didn't miss anything, and then we'll push and start, and we'll be ready to roll. Alrighty then, pull up GSX here and prepare for pushback and departure. Now we're going to push straight back based on the position we're in. United Airlines will work for us because we can't really turn anywhere. So manual stop. Let's see if it'll do it for us. We want nose right and tail left. Let's see if it'll do it properly. And then no, we don't want to start before pushback. Everybody should be popping up. He's pulling in over there. That's fantastic. While he's doing that, let's set this thing up. Excellent. Systems. Doors are all closed. That's good. I'm just looking at systems real quick because I never do. Fuel. We won't do the balance yet. It's actually pretty close. We might not need to for takeoff. We don't have engines running, so not all the hydraulics are up yet. Anti-ice.
Departure check completed. Bypass vent inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start that wheel.
Excellent. Okay, so this is the easiest startup on the planet. It's one thing I really like about this airplane. Right click to raise that little cover up, and then just actually we start with engine 2. So having it in run is fine for the moment. But because we haven't started it. So mouse wheel, roll it all the way to start. You hear the packs kick off, And you see the engine starting to spin up on its own. Easiest startup on the planet. Wonder what they're probably going to take us over there and then back us into another spot. That's my guess, but we'll see. Because there's no room. There's a building over here. Oh, shut up. I hate that thing. Yeah, see, I think we're going to go over there and then back up into another spot. So it's a good thing there's no traffic here, really. Okay, engine number 2 is started and already starting to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not settle. I can't think. Whatever. So we can go ahead and start engine 1 now. Pop the cover up, same thing, roll it to start, close the cover, and engine 1 will fire up. Oh, little stretch here. I'm gonna be upset if they leave us pointed this way. I don't think they're going to, though. We'll see. If they do, then we're gonna have to flip a U-turn, but hopefully they won't do that. We should start seeing the tail go to the left here shortly. Stabilized, that's the word I was looking for. Engine 2 is now stabilized. So let's go ahead and take care of our after start checklist while we're finishing this pushback. So the flaps need to be set. We're going flaps 2. There's flaps 2 right there. Flight controls checked. And you notice I kept the page up here as I should. So, well, I thought, nope, wrong page. I'm an idiot. Flight controls, dirt. Okay, so full left. There we go. Full right. There we go, and neutral, full up, full down, and neutral, and then rudder, full left, no rudder. Oh, we might not have rudder right now because of we're being pushed back right now, so they've got control of it. Okay, ACARS checked. There's no warnings, so we're good on that. We don't need dispatch clearance, but we do need to turn off the APU. So APU, come up here, roll the mouse wheel down, and off she goes. Let's see, we can't do takeoff configuration yet. We can check the brake temp. Wrong button. Wrong button again. Oh, let's see. I think it's under status. Yep, brake temp. So here's brakes, left, right, and we are pointing in the right direction. That's fantastic. Oh, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. Working brake set. We gotta wait till he removes that pin, I think. What else? Check ACARS again. I don't know why we're checking it twice in a row. Or did I just... No, we check it twice in a row on this one. That's kind of weird. Landing lights. I don't know why we would turn landing lights on right now. This is just after start checklist. Okay, well, landing lights don't need to come on. But we do need to turn taxi lights on. That's, let's see. Yep, that's these guys here. Strobe light's gonna have to come on. Technically, I think maybe strobe light comes on a little later, but that's alright. And then transponder needs to go to TARA. No, I was right. Strobe lights come on. Transponder to TARA, and the way we do that, we come in here, go to radio. Where's radio? There we go. Radio. Here's your transponder. Just click the bottom button here, the bottom lower left line select key. That's the way you're supposed to say it, I guess. And that puts it to TARA. And then I like to put that back to flight plan, so we're good on that. And then takeoff config needs to be checked. So we got to take the parking brake. If I do it with the parking brake on, it's this little button right here.
No takeoff. Brake.
It says the brakes are on. It doesn't tell us anything else. So if I take that off,
takeoff. Okay.
There we go. So we've checked that. Brake temp is good. What else? That's it. That's sort of our after start / before taxi checklist, and that rolls us right into our after takeoff checklist, which is kind of weird because I don't know. That's just weird the way that's set up. I don't think I ever actually noticed that before. We've already got taxi lights on. I'm going to bring this guy over here real quick, so you can see there's nothing going on here right now because we haven't turned it on. Turn on the power. Okay, that gives us an overview right there. It's showing our visibility. I can click that off. See? So the colors are the visibility. Visibility is not too bad. You can see for our route we're going away from the weather. And then you can change it, the mode to radar. Okay, and then you can tilt it up and down. So here's the increase and decrease tilt, increase and decrease zoom, and then not sure what the W is for. So now, that being said, technically this isn't supposed to be on quite yet because obviously we don't have our weather radar on and, you know, hosing people with radiation that are walking around. So well, let's see, anything else? No, I think that's it. Oh, let's change this guy to I need to go over here to map, that's why. Okay, so I've got everything set up on here the way I want it. We'll scroll this out just a little bit. And yeah, track IR on. Brakes coming off. Let her settle for just a second, and you know what? Let me turn that back off for 1 sec because I gotta look way over here, and I want to make sure you don't get freaking dizzy while I'm doing it. There we go. Make sure. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna be giving the taxi brief, but what I wanted to do is just pull up the chart over here so I actually go the right direction because yeah, I've actually gone to the wrong runway once recently. For those of you who paid attention. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start taxiing out here. It's a decently long taxi, which I actually planned that somewhat on purpose because I wanted to give plenty of time for you guys to get a taxi and then a departure briefing because I don't always leave enough time for that. So I wanted to make sure there was enough time. So, yep, I'm done talking. Well, sort of. Let's go ahead and take care of the taxi and the departure briefing. Figure out where we're going so that nobody's confused, and then we'll be off from there. So, all right, so we're over here at Terminal B or Bravo, and we're going to be going over here to 28 left. So we're going to have to come out and around down here on H1 probably, and we're going to cross over to Bravo. Take this down here to Foxtrot 1, cross both runways, follow Foxtrot all the way down here to hold short of runway 28 left. Long taxi, but pretty straightforward, simple, and I should be able to find the proper runway. Now, as for the departure today, we're going to be taking the Truckin' 2 departure with the Tipperary transition out here. And since we're taking runway 28 left, which is this guy right here, basically you can see we're going to take off and make an almost immediate right turn here, max of 210 knots. We should be able to keep it under that. But it's a pretty hard right turn all the way back around here to Truckin', which is right next to Oakland Airport. I'm surprised we don't just fly over Oakland Airport. It might make it a little bit easier, but hey, what do I know? And then from there, turn to 043 degrees out to Cosmic. That's a really retarded name. And then 049 degrees, slight right turn, taking that all the way out to Tipperary. A couple things to keep in mind. None of this terrain is going to be of issue to us. We're going to be up pretty high, pretty fast. There are no altitude constraints, no minimum or maximum altitudes for our departure. There would be if we were taking a different runway, but the main thing is going to be this mountain right here. So I find it a little odd that we take off and turn before this mountain. I would think it would make more sense to fly straight out, gain some altitude, you know, make sure you're well above this point here, and then make a turn around that little mountain out here to Truckin'. But hey, what do I know? I'm just, you know, I'm a desk pilot, so radars required, RNAVs required, all that good stuff. For our runway 28 left, max of 210 knots until you get above 520 feet, and NorCal departure on 120.900. So. And I think that's pretty much it. There's a restricted area over here. It's not going to be of any concern to us, so we are good to go. So let's get out there and get her done then. Alright, holding short of 28 left as planned. Let's make sure it's the right runway here. Yep, 28 left as planned. Let's go ahead and take care of weather radar real quick. We can turn it on at this point. And I'm going to want to be in this mode here, and I want the tilt to be up, let's say 3. I'm just guessing, I don't really know. It goes out to 100 nautical miles, so if we have any weather out that far, we should see it without any problem. And technically, we've already taken care of our before takeoff checklist, since that's part of the after start checklist. Kind of weird the way that's set up. I never really noticed that. Let's go ahead and get the landing lights on. That's the last thing we need to do. APU's already off. I don't see anybody on final. FO, you see anybody?
Nope, I don't see anybody.
Come on, that was kind of funny. Alright, let's go ahead and get it out on the runway. Track IR on. Let's do takeoff config button as we're pulling out here. Come on.
Takeoff
There we go.
okay.
Alright. We're heavy, so we're going to use a lot of this runway, which seems a little odd. You would think, oh, this little airplane, you know, it'd be good to go, but actually this thing really takes up some runway. For such a small airplane, I'm actually quite surprised at how much runway it uses. Alright, little asymmetric thrust there. That just means that I've got the right engine providing thrust while the left engine is on idle, just to help make this turn a little bit sharper so that we can line up right here at the end. We don't want to go forward too far. Alright. Let me think here. Okay, we want to make sure we're on FMS, which I've done, but just so you know, you press this button right here to make sure you're on the FMS. I don't think it lets us, I don't recall. It doesn't let us arm nav modes or anything like that. Let me turn this off, track IR off for just a second. I didn't see anything on there for flight director, or am I missing things on my checklist? Oh, let's see here. No, I'm not missing anything. Flight director does need to come on. So I was just looking at it too. Flight director on, there we go. And then the nav, so LNAV is set, and then obviously we'll use the flight level change mode, which is this guy right here. We haven't set our altitude yet, that's my bad. Right click it, does it in 1,000-foot increments. We're taking it all the way up to 35,000. Come on. I was looking at something else while I was doing that. Okay, 35,000. And then we can adjust the speed for now, but it'll only go so high. It goes to, what, 215. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and set our climb for 220 knots, give or take a little bit. So I'm going to control the pitch until I hit the flight level change mode, and when I do, it's going to lock in whatever speed we're at that point. And I think that's it. We're ready to rock and roll. Put this back on the proper checklist page here. All right. Let's bring those engines up. They come up pretty quick, and release brakes. Max thrust. Why are you going to the left? Keep going. Straight down the middle there, you. Right. I said down the middle. We're off to the left a little still. I have a hard time staying in the middle of the runway on this thing, don't I? There's 80 knots. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. There's rotate. Flight director's not doing anything yet.
Positive rate.
Positive rate of climb. Gear coming up. Okay, remember we're not going to be headed this way for very long before we make that right turn.
Gear up.
Zoom that down. There we go. Keep her straight there. Kind of ballsy to make that turn as early as you do with the mountains right there, huh? A little trim down just a little. Okay, let's go ahead and start this turn now. Make sure we maintain our rate of climb. Watch that speed. Oh, getting a little steep in the turn there. Yeah, that's kind of crazy making that right-hand turn right towards that mountain, to be honest with you. Swing it all the way around. Make sure that we're going to be on an intercept course. A little bit of weather down below us there. Just some fog. Very common in this area. Speed's looking alright at the moment. Coming around just a little bit more, and then we'll start to level her off. And as we do, it's going to want to climb really, really fast. Start to level it off. Let off the yoke just a little bit. And that's going to put us on a nice intercept course. Okay. There she is trying to climb. Just watching her for a minute. I want to get that speed up just a little bit. I can take out a setting of flaps now. Take it to flaps 1. Let that speed keep coming up a little bit. We're looking pretty good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit the flight level change mode. Well, let's turn on autopilot, flight level change. Okay, so it locked in at 206. Now I can just move the speed up to 220 where I want to be. Now you don't want there to be too big of a gap in there. Hold on one sec. Next setting of flaps coming up. If there's too big of a gap, like if it was 206 and I wanted to do 250 and I crank it to 250 really fast, this thing will actually start to descend to try and intercept the speed that you set it for. So you can see it bypassed it a little bit, so it's gonna kind of porpoise a little bit to try and find that smooth spot there. So I just noticed that I actually had track IR off for the entire takeoff. That's kind of funny. Nothing popping up on the weather radar above us, as you can see, quite clear out there. So we're looking good right now in our climb. We're coming up on 7,000 feet. Let's take care of this after takeoff checklist here. Flaps need to be to 0, which they are all the way up, so we're good on that. Landing gear needs to be up. It is. It's up and locked. Pressurization checked. That's this guy right here. Checking our rate. Everything's in the green. I don't know what the numbers are supposed to be, but if it's in the green, I know it's good. Oh, and that's it for the after takeoff checklist. So obviously we're going to need to monitor things. We're coming up on 10,000 feet here pretty soon. As we cross 10,000 feet, I'm going to increase the speed to probably, I don't know, we'll do it a little at a time. We'll probably go to 250, nice and easy, and then once it speeds up a little bit, we'll take it up to 300 for the rest of the climb. And let's see, I think that's it. Landing lights are going to have to come off here in just a second. We'll stick around until the landing lights come off, which is these guys up here. Taxi lights can go off already. There's nothing wrong with that. And we're coming up on 10,000 feet. So as we're crossing 10,000 feet here, landing lights go off. We can increase that speed a little bit. This one right here. Now we don't want to do it too fast, because we don't want it to see, because it brings the nose down, right? And what we don't want it to do is we don't want it to nosedive for the ground just because the speed's increasing. So as it gets closer, before it starts to climb again, I'll increase some more, and just nice and easy all the way up. Take it to 250 for the moment. That means, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alright, let's go over this arrival briefing really quick. It's the Kayla 1 RNAV arrival. We do have some altitude restrictions to concern ourselves with. We're coming in from out here at ANX, which is the Napoleon VOR. It's kind of funny. And then down here to Hebna, we need to be at or above 31,000 feet when we reach Hebna. And then down to Trake, where we'll hang a left to 090 degrees onto Natum. We need to be at or below 23,000 at Natum. And then it's only 10 miles from there to Kayla. So we're definitely going to want to be below 23,000 because at Kayla we need to be at or above 11,000. And as I'm doing this briefing, we're already actually partway into this, but this is just so you understand it here. From Kayla to Big Mac, and then from Big Mac, it depends on which runway we're taking. We would either go up this way, hitting Denise, Albert, and Stan, or hit Gibby, Ozzy, and Snyder. So pretty straightforward on that. It's all very flat out in this area. Not a lot of terrain to worry about or anything like that. The weather's pretty good. So let's go ahead and press on, and let's take care of the approach briefing. Alright, it's going to be the ILS runway 6 approach for us today, and we're going to start our approach out here at Wood. We're not going to hit Enco. We'll start at Wood, bang a right to 063 degrees and hit Tony, and then on in from there. We should be on course at that point. Again, not a lot of terrain out here. Highest terrain in this area is 3,000 feet, and that's pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot to this one. Frequency is 110.3. We'll want to make sure we're locked into that. Obviously, ATIS on 125.025, but for us, if we want to listen to the ATIS using our Active Sky 2016, then we want to go to 122.050. We won't talk to tower, we won't talk to ground, we're good to go on those. Let's take a look at the profile view then. Not a very long runway, but enough to work with. 2,241 meters with a 3-degree glide slope. Happy lights on the right-hand side of the runway. Because we're flying the ILS, we don't need to worry about the non-precision approach information over here. So again, we're coming in at Wood, and we'll be at 3,400 feet, and that's basically the start of, or that's basically our descent point there. I'm not sure why there's 2 descent points on this, to be honest with you. They've got like one here and one, what is that, 0.3 miles from that? Whatever. Anyway, so we'll start our descent, hopefully intercept the glide slope and the localizer without any issues, on down past Tony, and then on in from there. And of course, if we have to do a missed approach, it's pretty straightforward, literally. Climb at 063 degrees to ST, and then all the way up to 3,000 feet. And just looking at that up here, it's straight ahead, ST right here on the NDB, 3,000 feet, and then hold there in a non-standard holding pattern, left-hand turns, until instructed otherwise by ATC. And I'm not seeing anything else on here that's really of major concern for us. Airport elevation 618 feet, so we should be good to go there. And that's pretty much it. Weather's looking nice, so this should be a pretty straightforward approach. Alright, so we're a little further below 18,000 than we need to be to do the descent checklist, but let's go ahead and knock it out real quick. Auto brake needs to be set. We've got plenty of runway to work with, but we'll go ahead and crank it on to low anyway, so we'll just roll the mouse wheel up 1. Landing data needs to be set. That's going to be the big one here. And to do that, we pop this guy up, go to your performance page, go to landing page, and then page 3, and then you get this information from the manual, same place you got the takeoff information. I've already pulled the gross weight, and we're a little short on time, so I'm not going to show you how to do that, but you find the gross weight of the aircraft and then do the same thing you did for your takeoff V-speed. So our VREF is going to be 122. There we go. So our V approach is 5 nautical miles, or 5 knots faster, so that's 125. It's going to be really slow, actually. And VAC is 136. And then our VFS in this case is 187. So we put all of those in there. That takes care of that. Go back to the flight plan page and make sure the altimeters are set, which they are. So we're good on that. We're at 299.7. And I'm going to roll right into the approach checklist because, as you can see, we're right on top of it already. So we need to make sure that we've gone ahead, actually pop that back up, and put the frequency in there, which it's 110.30 as per the approach brief. So that's in there now, so we're good on that. And then, let's see, course, I remember there's supposed to be a way to do something with that, but I don't remember what it is. And I don't know why this thing's doing this little porpoise deal right now. Either descend or stay. I don't care which. Goodness. Passing below 10,000. Let's get the landing lights on. Taxi lights don't need to be on yet.
Descending below 10,000 feet.
It's having a hard time slowing down, obviously. As you can see on here, we don't have far to go. Okay, let's go ahead and set our heading mode to our current heading. Where are you at heading? There we go. Oops, wrong way. Okay, switch it to heading mode, and then we'll put this on localizer 1, and that's where we've tuned in our ILS frequency, so we should be good to go on that. It'll continue the descent on V path. Passenger signs need to be on. I never turned those off, so those are definitely on already. Landing lights are on. Altimeters are set and cross-checked. We'll do flaps and landing gear here pretty soon. We're still trying to slow down a little bit. We can get the first set of flaps in there. Good. That's going to help us slow down quite a bit more. 150 already. That's pretty slow, huh? We still got a little ways to go, though. Now, once I go to flaps 2, it's not going to let me keep the speed brakes out. See? Speed brakes have to come in when you're at flaps 2. That's all right, though. We're slow enough. We'll be able to drop the gear whenever we're ready. Still don't have any visual on the runway here. I almost forgot to record some space for the arrival and the approach briefing there. So it's probably a little choppy looking. That's alright though. Let's see here. We're 6,500. Everything's looking good. We're obviously not configured for landing yet. I just figured we might as well stay here at this point. Let me pop this up for you. We can change the course now. I probably should have done that already. Final approach course 063 degrees. So let's go ahead and change that. There we go. And obviously we're still in heading mode. We'll continue in heading mode here for another couple of minutes, and then as we get a little closer, I still don't understand why this thing's slowing down to 150 knots. That's crazy slow. It's on the FMC speed right now, or FMS speed. So the flight management computer's controlling what speed we're at. We're going to be taking over that here in a little bit, but that's all right. We're already overdue on our flight. Big surprise. Let me see if we get anything out of this. I'm wondering if any of those clouds have any moisture in them. I don't think so, though. The weather radar does show the moisture in the clouds properly. As I started the descent, there was definitely some moisture, and it was showing up on this weather radar. So that's kind of cool. Kind of nice to have that. I did a flight for Life Virtual Cargo Pilot yesterday, I think it was, in the iFly 747, and I didn't find out until after the fact that as long as you got the tilt set properly, the weather radar does work on that aircraft. So that was really cool too. And anyway, 150 knots is awfully slow. Now if I switch this over to manual by right clicking here, whoops, or just left clicking here, see it's set at Mach. I really hate that. It won't. Now you're supposed to be able to press the center mouse wheel, right? But that doesn't do anything for me. Oh, wait a minute, it did. Great gobs of goose turds, people. It did do something. Oh, let's speed up a little bit then. Let's take it back up to 170. My word, that's never worked before. All of a sudden it did. Fantastic. Because I hate that it goes into Mach, airspeed goes into Mach mode, and then it just stays there. And go this way a little bit. We're just a skosh off course. We should see our bar start moving here pretty soon. It's going to indicate that we're just about lined up with the localizer, which is fantastic. That's what we want. I don't know why that got a little chop in there, didn't it? We're looking pretty good though. Why are you going back that far? Right there. That's where I want you to stay. Nothing to do but keep an eye on this thing for a minute. Looks like our runway is right there. We're still just a little high. I'm always high on approach, right? That should be the altitude we're supposed to be set at. So we should be good to go. We should be below the glide slope, which is where we want to be right now. Let's see. Where's our localizer at? I should probably find that now, huh? Oh, it's just the approach switch. That's why. Where you at? Approach switch. Bam. Hit the approach switch. It took the localizer and the glide slope immediately. It's a good thing I thought to find that when I did. Okay, what do we say our VREF was? 122. So 127, right? So let's go ahead and slow this bad Larry down to 127 knots. There we go. Let's get that landing gear down. And we should be able to bring in another setting of flaps here. Arm the spoilers. And let's go to full flaps. Looking good. Looks to me like we're just a little high here. Let's let the aircraft do its thing, see if it'll work its way down. We're definitely a little high. This time it's not my fault, I promise. It was the autopilot's fault. Our PAPI indicators are on the right side of the runway. It's actually good to know that. And we're just a tiny bit above the glide slope here, just a little bit, not very much. So let's turn the auto throttle off. What are we at? About 40. We're coming up a little bit.
Throttle.
Close to 46. Right about there. Give or take. Looking pretty good. You know, it's time to go ahead and turn this autopilot off as well.
Autopilot. Autopilot.
I know. And we'll hand fly this in. Now, the PAPI is supposed to be on the right side of the runway, but it's starting to look like it's on the left side, isn't it? Interesting. We don't need to descend any faster. Where are you going? There's like not much of a wind, but it's like it wants to blow her around a little bit, huh? And we're definitely below glide slope now. Substantially, in fact. It is on the right side. You just can't really see the runway yet. I'm getting a lot of chop in there, aren't I? But it wants to climb now. I'm actually trying to hold the nose down. Come on. Little squirrely, little squirrely. Back those throttles off. Quite a bit. We're still pretty fast here. A little better. Just a touch of trim in there. Just a little fast. We're gonna end up high here pretty soon. Shocker, right? No, we're good. We're gonna end up low if I actually don't watch what I'm doing here. Alright. Just a little squirrely, that'll happen sometimes. We're a touch fast. Just a couple of knots. That's looking pretty good right there. That's what we want. We're just keeping that spot on the runway just right there.
Approaching minimums.
Thank you for that. Oop, dropped just a little low.
Glide slope, glide slope, glide slope.
Shut up. God, I hate that thing.
Minimums,
I really hate that
minimums,
thing.
glide slope.
God, that is the most obnoxious warning on the planet. Okay.
100.
Just about at landing speed.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Oh, a little rough on the landing there. A little rough. Not too bad. Minus about 138. It's a little rough for us.
Auto brake.
Alright. It's a little dark here, isn't it? Or is it just me? It seems like it's a little dark, doesn't it? Alright, we got the flaps coming up. Let's go ahead and get the landing lights off and the taxi lights on. There's taxi lights, landing lights coming off. Looking good there. What are we parking at here? I didn't actually look at it, to be honest with you. Terminal's over there, isn't it? Of course it is. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, well, let's go ahead and let me turn the track IR off for a second. Let's take care of our, no, it's just it's a parking checklist. It's not even a after landing checklist. So I'm going to go ahead and taxi on over here, and then I'll come back on. We'll do the parking shutdown checklist, and then we'll be done. Alright, got us a parking space here. Let's go ahead and take care of the parking checklist. Parking brake needs to be on, which it is. Start stop selectors go to the off position. I'm actually surprised we don't have like where you turn the APU on or something like that, but whatever. So start stop selectors, that's down here. Boy, it is really dark, isn't it? It's not that late. Why is it so dark? Oh, you know what? We traveled east. That's why. We traveled east. So we traveled from the west coast east, so it's later, much later here than it is there. Dirt. Okay. Anyway, start stop selectors into the stop position. Oh, that is the most obnoxious. The warnings on this thing drive me insane. Red beacon needs to go off. Where are you at? Red beacon right there. Off. There we go. Hydraulic pump 3A goes off. That is this one. And then we go straight into the power down checklist. Passenger signs can go off. That's these guys here. Now they can get up, start moving about. Emergency lights off. That is this one here. Please stop. GPU, APU off. We never turn the APU on, so batteries 1 and 2 off, and that will shut that thing up. Thank God. So I guessed on the parking space. I didn't pull quite far enough forward, so my bad, but things will happen. That's going to wrap it up for this flight, though. It wasn't too shabby. I felt maybe just a skosh rushed at the very end there because I had forgotten to record some space for the arrival and approach briefings, but we got that in there. And all in all, I think it was pretty darn good. It was a good flight. So, yeah, we still got to go back over to the website real quick. We're going to do that here in just a second. But I'd like to wrap it up here and say if you haven't had the opportunity yet, please go ahead and punch that subscribe button. Up to almost 1,800 subscribers. Very excited about that, and I thank every one of you. Let's see here. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. I can never figure out which is which. And then don't forget that I'm on Twitch now. And I mentioned this in another video. I'm going to, here in a little while today, actually, which, of course, the timing doesn't mean anything to you, but here shortly I'm going to do an announcement video for my next live stream, and that will be the last announcement video that I do for live streams. All announcements in the future will be on my Facebook page. So if you haven't had an opportunity to jump on over to Facebook and click the like button, please do so that you can get a heads up when I'm going to be going live. And I think that's it. So let's hop on over to the website. Oh, ACARS. Dirt. We're actually not that late either. Check it out. 4 hours, 22 minutes. And it was scheduled for 4 hours, 7 minutes. So we had a wicked tailwind that was like 65 knots most of the way. So we got here really quick. We did good on the fuel, I think. We were scheduled for, how much fuel were we? 16,313 was the release fuel. So yeah, and we went just about 17,000. So that was pretty darn good. Pretty close right there. So anyway, 4 hours, 23 minutes. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and end the flight and file this PIREP so we can get credit for that time because we're getting so close. All right, done there. That's been filed. Close that out. All right. Hop on over to the website then. We'll wrap it up over there and we'll call this one done and dusted. All right, what do you say we wrap this one up then? As you can see, we've got our hours credited to us already, and 15 hours to go, folks. And I gotta tell you, I'm ready. I'm absolutely ready. Quick look at the PIREP here. Let's see, we've got 4 hours, 23 minutes was the actual flight time, so we would have actually been early had I not popped ACARS on just a few minutes earlier, but that's all right. Total revenues, 75.53. What was that landing rate? Negative 138. Not too shabby, not too shabby at all. All in all, a pretty darn good flight. Now, I'm not going to dig through all the flights here. I've already decided what the options are for the next flight. Of course, this thing's going to take forever. They're both E175 flights, and I know you're probably getting a little worn out with those. To be honest with you, I am too. I'd like to switch to something different, but we need to knock out these hours, number one. And number two, Aerosoft still has not come through for us. So, departing out of St. Louis, and we'll just go with the type rating group of first officer. And I'm just going to pop these up, but I'm not actually going to go through them all because I think they're the ones that I chose are on the like page 2 and 3. Hey, look, updates available. Piss off. Okay, so we can either fly back to San Francisco, which is a little over 4 hours, all right, which will put us, depending on how the winds go and all that good stuff, would put us to right about 10 hours until promotion. Or we can fly to Salt Lake City, which is about 3.5 hours, give or take just a little bit. Both are in the E175. And again, I'm sure some of you are kind of like, oh, enough of this thing. Listen, I get it, but at the same time, that's, in the real world, that's what you do, right? You get type rated an aircraft and you fly it and fly it and fly it, and you pretty much fly it forever unless you upgrade. So obviously we'll be upgrading once we have the hours, and then we can start looking at other aircraft. So not too big a deal. I kind of enjoy flying it. As far as a feel their aircraft goes, they did a pretty good job on that one. Works pretty well. I think the textures in it kind of, on the MCP kind of suck. But anyway, so those are your two options, KSTL to KSFO or KSTL to KSLC, both in the E175. Be sure to place your votes, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, keep the blue side up unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless and have a great day.